This is a HeadGum podcast.
I did try to study up, though. I looked up all the names of the actors.
I did too. Because there are actors.
Elizabeth
Pena. Yeah.
And I actually was like, where? I feel like I haven't seen her since that movie.
I feel like I hadn't seen her either.
Like
she's
working.
really
good.
Yeah,
she is
working.
Yeah, she's got a bunch of credits, but I don't. But she's also a little bit older, actually, because she's been in movies.
She was older in that
for
movie.
a while.
She was definitely older
than
this
that.
stuff. Yeah, she was definitely older than him in that movie. Ooh, I got some. Let's start. Well, I got some stuff to say.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! James, I thought about you because like the music, the music to this movie, the soundtrack was crazy.
Yeah,
It really. It's
we're gonna
pretty
talk
on the
about
nose.
Oh my! All right.
It's like there's literally a scene where Jackie Chan makes a joke and it ends in a gong.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, yo, there's so many things in this movie. It's like, but then the theme song.
Jonathan Braylock, James III, Jerah Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is.
Black men can jump.
In Hollywood.
Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's how we start.
Welcome
Well, James got
to Black
Uber.
Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Hey, Nick, do we have money so
Producer
I can sing
Nick.
the Drew Hill song right now?
Producer Nick.
Oh, Nick said we can sing it. I'm so excited.
We have money to sing. Song. All right. Are you going to sing this song before we introduce our guest?
Oh, you know what? Hope James is ready.
I was ready.
All
right,
I was about to do that.
Okay. What part do you want to start with?
Okay.
All right. Are you going to start with Heart Deep or are you going to start with the Yeah?
I was gonna start with the yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you start with the Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you love me?
Baby, do you see yourself with a like me on the low? No, so your friends won't know. How did you
love for me?
Just for the...
How is it going to be?
Oh man,
Okay.
this must sound terrible.
I feel bad for people who wake up and listen to this.
I don't have headphones on, so I can't
Oh, it
hear how
sounds
we
so
sound. This
bad.
must be the worst.
All right.
be the last.
So
Guys, we have a guest.
we have a special guest this week. We have the one and only Andrew Law.
Andrew Law.
Oh
Oh, yeah.
everyone.
Welcome.
Writer for Late Night with Seth Meyers.
That's right,
That's
yeah.
the correct
Late Night.
title. Boom.
That means him and Seth Meyers hang out, and they are like,
We're always texting each other.
saying,
Just
it's
like,
all
yeah.
man.
That's how that works. Yeah,
for
very
breakfast?
talented. You've written for what? The Jeselnik
I
Offensive?
wrote for the Jeselnik Offensive. That's right.
Yes.
And this show. I'm trying to think of what else.
mean-
but also, what was that awesome web series you did with Allison
Oh,
Rich?
Incognito. Yeah.
Incognito.
That won the New York Pilot Festival. Wasn't that the Pilot
It
Festival?
did. Yeah, the out of the box festival. I think.
Yeah,
Out of the box?
that was
Nice.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Nice,
that.
man.
That was fun.
You
Very,
know what
very
happens
funny.
now
Look
that you're
it
on the
up.
podcast, right? Now we're all like best friends for life.
Yes.
That's
I'm
what
gonna be texting
happened.
you guys. Instead of
Oh, yeah.
I have a tattoo. I thought we all got them.
Of every guest we've
Every
had.
guest we have, just put I
what's
just
the
get
name?
their name on my bicep.
Actually, I was thinking about. I was in Iceland recently, and we were thinking about getting tattoos while we were there.
Oh, yeah?
And I don't have any tattoos, but I really want one. I just don't know what I want.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gotta
that's
be
a
the
tough
right.
thing.
Got to do the right choice.
Yeah, that's
right?
a tough thing, man.
So some people are just like, whatever,
Yeah.
just do it up.
I mean, you
Yeah.
do get addicted because I went out of the country for the first time to Spain, and I was like, I got a tattoo there, and now I'm like,
Wait,
I feel like
what?
Oh, no, yeah, and he's already plotting his next
oh
one.
yeah, I want another one.
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
I want another one to really.
They're
bad.
What did you
Addictive.
get while you were in Spain?
Well, it's like I was in Spain. It's like I just got the coordinates of Barcelona
That's
mixed
great.
with like my favorite quote, but now it's like, oh, like I could never figure out an idea to get a tattoo. Once I got back to America, it's like, oh, I know what else I want. Like instant, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. So, yeah.
Of course, none of this has to do with the film that we're doing today.
Tattoos have to do with everything.
We are reviewing.
Memento.
Memento today. Memento.
I didn't watch it yet.
Are there any people of color in Memento? It's probably some bad guys.
There's
Somebody
like-
probably get shot.
There's got to be.
Wait, there's got to be one in Memento.
I don't know. I honestly
can't,
do not
actually
know.
can't think
I
of-
can't think of one at all right now.
We're going to say yes because Memento, we have faith in you.
Here's the thing: we are doing Rush Hour.
yes.
Rush Hour.
Starring Jackie Chan, First build.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker, directed by, Brett Ratner.
Brett Ratner. Wait, he got less excited. Just instantly less excited.
Well, the thing is, it's so interesting because, like, this movie, to me, is done so well. But then we all know what
Yes.
Brett Ratner, what he does.
So this movie did very well, right? So
This movie is, I was just thinking from just the script perspective. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it hits all the right moments.
It does.
all the
Yeah.
right
Can
moments.
I ask you a question?
Buddy
It's like
cop.
a tight movie. It's like a 90
It is,
minutes,
it's tight.
right?
Yeah,
It's 90 minutes.
90
tight.
minutes
long.
I do have a question, and it's about race.
Sure.
I love this movie, but actually watching this movie in the 2015 like climate,
Right.
Chris Tucker's character makes so many racist jokes.
So many.
Like, and this is literally to almost every Asian person he sees.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
literally almost every single Asian person he talks to says something about, like, egg roll, egg foo young. Like, he literally, every time.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Like, is
it's
that
pretty
like-
insane, yeah.
Is that like, because I haven't seen it, just so everyone knows, like, Rush Hour is now going to be on a TV show on CBS. Trailer just came out.
Right.
last
Oh,
week.
did it? Oh, I gotta.
Trailer just came out. I haven't watched it yet either, but I
Okay.
plan on it. I'm wondering, can you make a movie with those kind of jokes nowadays? Like, is he literally is like,
Should they have done it then? Even
I
is partly my question.
I've recently somebody said like they feel like we're sort of, because everyone's talking about how PC everything is right now, and how everyone's sensitive, and there's a lot of like think pieces and stuff. And I feel like somebody also told me, like, I think it's going to come in waves, right? Like, we have these sort of moments where it's a little bit more permissive and people can, like, make more off-color jokes.
Right.
And then there are other, especially I think part of it maybe has to do with the fact that we're going through an election season. So everybody's walking on eggshells a little bit about what, obviously not Donald Trump, but like everyone else is walking on eggshells about what they should and shouldn't say, and trying to be sensitive about certain groups of people. I have no idea. I have no idea, but it does feel like right now, specifically this year, maybe last year too, that you wouldn't be able to make the same kind of jokes that you made.
No,
in this movie.
and to be fair, it's a different time. Different
No, I agree. I'm just
sensibilities.
but also,
different-
it's two minorities making fun. Well,
right.
I feel like it's different. Too,
So
man.
let's just set up with just for somehow for people who
No,
haven't seen
Braylock,
it.
do it.
No, there's always people who haven't seen it. So Rush Hour, you got. Actually, it starts off with Jackie Chan in
the
China.
movie, movie.
Jackie Chan is a cop, a detective. He does his kung fu stuff. He comes in like on a boat, takes some dudes out, and he's like going after this criminal Lord
Juntao.
No one's ever seen him.
Juntao. No one's ever seen
Juntao.
him, and he's chasing. I forgot what this character's name is, but he's played by Ken
The blonde.
Ken Lung.
The blonde.
You know what I thought about the blonde hair? Sorry to jump in.
Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
like, I wonder whether or not that was a decision just to make him just a character decision to have
Right.
blonde
It
hair,
was
or
dumb.
whether or not it was like, we're worried that people won't be able to tell them apart.
That's so crazy.
I actually
That
did.
is
I
such an
had that
interesting-
thought watching it this time, but
Yeah.
only because I was looking at it from the race standpoint.
Yes,
for the-
exactly.
I was wondering, did they dye his hair so that we can be like, oh, we know that guy?
That's the bad one.
You're right.
Yeah, no.
I feel
there's
like
another one.
I feel like that. I feel like they did.
They had to have. Because the thing is, I feel like I know a good amount of Asian Americans, and I've never seen a straight up blonde haired guy. And it's like, I wonder if it's one of those things like, for instance, if that would have been a black person, been two black dudes, that guy would have had like a mohawk or he had a scar
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
he?
He has a scar
You would
by
have
the end,
it would have
yeah.
been like another black person with a scar, and something would have been crazy to show it's not the other black.
But
guy,
does it also make him a little bit scarier though? feel
I
like-
do think
Yeah,
it does.
yes, it does,
It's
right?
so
It does make him
creepy,
scary.
Yeah, he
It
looks
does make him
creepy.
scary.
So, it was kind. I feel like it's a combination of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway, so the idea is that this council or what is he?
Consul?
the consular.
Is he the ambassador or is he just?
They kept Consular Han.
I
They
don't
kept
know.
calling her Consular
Consul,
Han.
yeah.
Consular Han.
Counselor Han. Yeah.
But
But I don't know what
He likes
that
old-
would mean. I don't know what it means.
I mean, this
but
is-
I don't know what it
okay,
means
it's all right.
either.
It's important.
Yeah.
Basically, I guess he was somehow the head of the police department.
Yeah,
in
he
some
was.
aspect. Now that I'm talking about it, I realize I don't understand the actual.
Oh, there's a lot of things that are very
But
confusing,
anyway,
but it's so entertaining.
So Jackie Chan knows his daughter. They move. Council Han and his daughter move to San Francisco, not
LA.
San Francisco,
LA.
LA, and they move there. And then quickly his daughter gets kidnapped, and Jackie Chan's character is asked to come by Council Han, but the FBI doesn't want to deal with Jackie Chan. They don't want
the Asian man
They don't want-
to help out the American
Well,
man.
they don't want, but also like
No.
Okay.
They referred to him every time. They talked to him.
They called him Ching Chong at one point.
they-
Yeah,
should've-
It was
something
like it was
that.
like okay.
Yeah, they were like, oh.
Chun King Police. Or something.
Yeah, it was like they
what?
always. Matter of fact, when he shows up, like not to skip, we're gonna go back. Like, they reference like, oh, he's here. The guy from Hong Kong man.
The guy, yeah, it's him, the guy from China.
The guy from China.
China.
And they
Guy
say
from
something
Hong Kong.
different every time they mention where he's. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and so Chris Tucker, like, also we see Chris Tucker is like kind of like a reckless police officer. He like blows up, unnecessarily blows up a car, like in the middle of a street.
Why does he do that?
Like it doesn't make any sense.
I told you to move. I told you to move.
Blows
taking
up a car. Two other cops. So his chief hates him. He makes him go on this like bogus
Babysitting,
assignment to
yeah.
babysit Jackie Chan's character, and then but they take it upon themselves to find the kidnapped daughter, and then buddy cop
And
drama
they
ensues.
succeed.
Buddy cop.
They become friends.
Yeah, and the movie was very successful. It was made for like 30 something million. It made like 220 or something million worldwide.
Because people forget
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, even before this, was huge.
yeah.
So yeah,
was huge.
that being said, this was the biggest box office Jackie Chan ever got
yeah.
until Rush Hour 2, which was the
crazy.
biggest.
Which was crazy.
And then Jackie Chan did a bunch of other films too, but Chris Tucker stopped. He just did Rush
yeah,
Hour.
he
Let me tell
just
you
did
why.
Rush Hours.
Why did he stop?
I could tell you, little known fact, Chris Tucker was the first African American man to get paid $20 million for a movie, which he got for Rush Hour 2. He got it before Denzel, Will Smith, Sam Jackson. He got
Really?
$20 million. He got his money and was like, I won.
He did.
I'm out.
Yeah.
He dropped
Got
the
his
mic,
money.
And then
Because Rush
But
Hour
wait.
3 wasn't made for a while.
Well, yeah.
But but is that specifically why he stopped?
he got
no.
really he found the Lord. He's talked about it. Like he didn't want to curse anymore. He didn't want to do a couple of things. He wanted to get his life together and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he took some time off.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So that's why he still doesn't. Yeah.
So Rush Hour is huge. Anyway,
Huge.
so let's do first thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to start? James?
I mean, I can
You got
start. I
notes.
always start initial thoughts, and then I feel like a deeper conversation happens after I bring mine up.
But you started.
But my initial thoughts, really, I mean, I loved this movie when it came out. I loved it. So, I thought it was so funny. Everything made me laugh so hard in the movie theater, and watching it again, like it kind of just sort of maintains that nostalgia, like it doesn't have as many laugh out loud moments for me anymore, but like there are still a lot of them in there. To watch it though, from the standpoint of thinking about the representation of race in Hollywood, I had trouble. I had trouble on both ends. I had trouble with the fact that like you kind of it's kind of like Chris Tucker's just an idiot. Like you kind of wonder like does he? It's questionable what his skills are as a detective, and then it's like like if there was anything that I knew about Asians in film, it was like they're martial arts films, and then like the moment we see Soo Young for the first time, she's like punching Jackie Chan, and it's like, all right, okay, so like I guess everyone does karate would have been what
Only
my
Consul
thought was.
Han doesn't know how to do karate.
Only him can, but like but that's just, I think that's a little more of a nitpicky thing, but like but yeah, I think that like I had questions about that.
Right. What about you, Andrew? We should tell the guests Andrew is of Asian descent. Just in case you couldn't.
That's true. I mean, like, because I have the last name Law, I think
Yeah.
some people just assume I'm Jude's brother or
Right.
something like that.
Oh yeah,
Use it.
you are also Jude's
I am
brother,
also
right?
his
Okay,
brother,
great.
his American brother. I actually thought the thing that sort of stuck out to me in terms of having first thoughts, I was like, on the one hand, there are some disappointing things about diversity in this movie.
Right.
But on the other hand, I was actually kind of surprised that this was made in 1998. It's probably still more diverse than most movies now.
Yeah.
And
Truth.
And I was like, damn, like you know what I mean?
Truth.
I mean, I think there are probably more actors of color in this movie than there are white actors.
Yeah.
Which is
I'd say so.
absolutely not the case with most movies made today. The thing that sort of stuck out to me about Chris Tucker's character wasn't even the sort of fact that he's sort of a buffoon. It was more of the I think this is like very typical casting is like the sexualization of black men and the anti-sexualization of Asian men.
Yeah, right.
Whereas, like, so Jackie Chan is this sort of like, I mean, he doesn't have a love interest. I mean, he's one of the leads. I mean, neither of them have love interests really, but he's like, he's just there to sort of like do the fighting and find Soo Yun, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But Chris Tucker, in every scene that he's with a woman, he's hitting on the woman.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
get the woman though.
He doesn't get the woman.
Right.
There is no love interest for either of them, unless you count Johnson, who's kind of not really
but she's
accessible to either of them. But it just seemed sort of, that was what stuck out to me. It was just like, it was just like interesting. Like, I think one of, the character games of Chris Tucker's character is that he's like not good at his job and he's kind of like reckless. But then the other character game is like that sort of like flirting, hitting on, that sort of like catcalling sort of thing.
Totally.
But then on the other hand, you have Jackie Chan, who like, I don't think he got like a love interest until maybe like the third movie or something like that, which seems kind of like crazy because every time you look at another like action movie, the action star always has like a love interest.
Yes.
Right?
And it was a big deal when he got the one in the third one because she was too attractive. She was supposed to be, it was Nicole
Scherzinger?
Oh man, am I being racist and getting mixed up with somebody? Basically, the woman who plays his love interest is extremely attractive, and they kept making jokes to the fact of like she doesn't like you because you're not attractive.
Yeah.
And she is attractive. I mean, it was
weird because like Jackie Chan's an attractive guy.
It's freaking Jackie Chan.
I guess by Rush Hour 3 is a little bit older, but still.
I actually thought I was actually surprised at his age in this one because I remember him as this like 29-year-old guy in this movie, but he's definitely a little bit older.
He's in his 30s.
Because I think he was born in like 1954.
He did Rebel in the Bronx when he was like 30.
No, he's been in movies since the 70s. He actually since the 60s technically, but he's been doing stunts since the 70s.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's been around.
And he does his own stunts in every movie. Go ahead. I'm getting ready. I'm getting warmed up.
I actually like this movie so much. Woo! Because like, now I feel like I need to apologize to my mom and my family. I realized while watching this movie that I completely like copied Chris Tucker growing up. Like the dances, the way he talked, like the patterns. Even though watching it, I'm like, yo, Chris Tucker just copied Michael Jackson. Like his voice, like there's a lot of Michael Jackson references in this.
Chris Tucker loves Michael Jackson.
Even like it's so interesting because
they're like friends, right?
Yeah,
they
were good friends, and I think it's because of that. Like, it's
because of the love. I mean, his famous bit from Def Comedy Jam is Michael Jackson. Say Michael Jackson was a pimp. Like it was like, pimp. Come here, girl. Like it's so good. Oh yeah. But like watching this movie, I kind of it's funny because James has a good point. Like I love this movie so much, but watching this in like 2015, it's like so many little things I noticed. Like when Jackie Chan comes to America. The Asian music plays.
Oh my god!
Like, as he's stepping off the plane,
immediately. Let's talk about this real quick because it happens almost constantly.
The music
when
is
he
insane
fights
in this movie.
when he shows up.
It's like they're afraid. They're worried you forget that he's Asian.
Yeah,
you forget. And it's like they always comment on, like the FBI agents always comment on the fact that he's Asian. Like,
and then like similarly, like in the fight scene in the pool hall, it's like funky jazz.
It's like oh my god, when Jackie Chan's playing around, it's like
and then when he fights, it goes dum 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 dum. Like it gets so weird. And I'm like, yo, why don't? But then when Chris Tucker does stuff. It gets very Michael Jackson. It gets very like
they literally play another part of me in the like the music
Michael Jackson
another
song.
part of me. Yeah.
It's like it's very like they don't want you to forget that this is even though they don't mention Chris Tucker's race. They like this is a fast talking black dude and this is an Asian fighter. Like watching this.
They do it in the. I watched the trailer for this again, and they do it in the trailer. In the trailer, they say the fastest hands in the East meet the biggest mouth in the West.
It's like they played up. Yeah. But what I will say this movie does though, as far as the relationship between like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan is like they make sure you like their friendship doesn't feel forced because they became friends in real life, but there's literally sequences in this movie that like them in the car, the radio bit when they're doing the stakeout, and there's literally a 5-minute scene of just them, a montage of them becoming friends. For God's sake.
Yeah.
Like how often does that ever happen in a buddy cop movie? It's like there's a montage of like, oh, I know the moment you became friends, sitting wall.
Yeah.
God, yo, like I know it.
Yeah.
We know it. You know?
So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna stand by this. This is my favorite buddy cop movie of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
I really think
I will
great
stand
movie.
by that.
It's so good.
Did you think that going into it
so
though?
much? I remember liking it. Okay, just a quick little story. I remember loving this movie when I was a kid, and I would quote it all the time. And when I was at church once, I was quoting it to my friend, but the part that I was quoting was when they're in the when they first get to that pool hall, and I'm like, yeah, and then Chris Tucker comes in. I'm at church. I'm at church.
Yeah.
I'm in Sunday school. I'm like, yeah, and then Chris Tucker comes in, and he's like, what's up, my nigga? What's up, my nigga? And then Jackie Chan comes in, and he's like, what's up, my nigga?
What
and then
did
he's
you say?
like, what'd you just say? He's like, what's up, my nigga? And then
He started
brawl,
fighting.
and then like my teacher, my Sunday school teacher was like, John, what did you just say? And I was like, what's up, my nigga? And then
you had that moment.
So then I had he told my dad. I remember I had to stay after everybody left, and my dad came in, and then this Sunday school teacher who was white was talking to my dad yeah, he's been saying inappropriate words, and then my dad was like, oh, what did he say? And then he was like, well, I can't say, but the N-word. And then my dad was like, oh, okay. And I remember being so scared. I thought I was going to get in so much trouble. My dad was just like, you can't say that around.
Yeah.
Basically, it was just you can't say that around white people.
Yeah.
Like you
I was
had
like,
the
oh.
lesson that Jackie Chan
Yeah,
has
Jackie
in the
Chan.
movie.
Yeah. I was just
hey.
oh, I thought I was going to get in so much trouble when I didn't. But anyway, yeah, I love this movie when I was a kid. But when I rewatched it, I was like, this movie is it's still, the comedy to me still holds up.
Oh, it does. It does.
I know
it totally does.
Yeah,
it totally does.
But yeah, I definitely noticed the music stuff as far as
Yo, that music stuff
concerned.
was crazy.
But I did notice there are things in it that I felt pretty cool about. I thought I forgot the guy who plays Council Han, the actor. He had a pretty good English accent. He wasn't it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like he was putting on and neither did
I
the
looked
kid.
it up. He was born in Hong Kong too, so
And he was born in
that's
Hong Kong.
a genuine how he actually talks.
Right, so he wasn't. It didn't sound like he was playing it up.
No.
And I don't think
and the
any
girl
of the
wasn't.
characters did.
I didn't feel like any
no
of the
one
characters
did. No
did.
one did.
Jackie Chan, obviously also born in Hong Kong, a Hong Kong actor, a Hong Kong superstar, right?
Yeah.
And continue to learn English, and you see where he is at with English in this film, but he's doing he's doing the best he can.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like they were other than the music, it didn't feel like they were trying to they're make it a little. And also we all know Chris Tucker it talks like that, so it's again it's a trope, but it's the Eddie Murphy fast talking cop, Martin Lawrence fast talking cop, Chris Tucker fast talking cop.
They humanized, and this is going to sound so dumb, I feel like they humanized Asian characters more so than I've seen in a long time. I mean, the mere fact this movie is about, Jackie Chan and Counselor Han are, friends. He's basically the daughter. I feel like how often...
Well,
Man.
I think I think that's a really good point because how do you humanize a race of people? And I think the way you do it is, and I don't even know if the humanize is the word that I'm trying to think of, but it's you want to show. I forget who said this, but it was someone was saying, I want black actors to be able to play good guys. I want black actors to be able to play bad guys. I want black actors to be able to play X, Y, and Z. And I felt like this movie, the reason why you did feel like it was more focused on Asian Americans or Asians is because you saw so many different
all the different sides.
So you don't have there is a lot of pressure when you are the only person of a certain race in a movie because then every action is scrutinized. Right. Is this a good representation of that race? Whereas here we had villains, we had good guys, we had victims. We had all sorts.
I'm clapping for that guy.
Yeah, we're clapping.
That's so true.
It's
so true.
There's no longer the pressure of being responsible
for the race.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because you have, and the same thing. So the same thing happened with black people in this movie. Because Chris Tucker, we could talk about him being somewhat a buffoon, but he's I think he's like purposely being a buffoon. Like he's like, oh, he's a fast talker, so he's like, he lies or whatever. That's what he does. But he also like is still smart. He's still street smart. He knows where to go to get the information. You know what I mean? He is pretty quick with the gun. Like, you know, he's like, he has an internal integrity, you know, that he tries to represent.
One thing I was thinking, you know, when you're talking about Chris Tucker with a gun.
Yeah.
In 2015, I was thinking about, like, you know, obviously Black Lives Matter and all this stuff.
Right.
And he has a gun in broad daylight without his badge out in L.A. in 1998. I was just thinking about, like, how if this was a real situation,
he would have got shot.
I was scared. I was like watching it through the lens of 2015 and being like, this, I'm so scared for him. Right
He has a line in it where he says, we're LAPD. We're the most hated cops in all the free world. My mama's even ashamed of me. She tells everybody I'm a drug dealer.
Oh my God, that line.
And you're like,
I wrote that line down too.
But it's like, that's exactly what, like, he even takes they take a moment to reference it, you know, to kind of talk about, like, how, like, this is strange, you know, this would be strange to what we would think would be going on.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Tucker would have got shot. Well, let me tell you why. One, because he was dressed like a new school pimp. His first, when you first see him, he got the leather outfit on, and the thing is, I don't even know what he had in his hair because I like to look at hair. I'm like, this motherfucker got a perm. Like his hair was slick and wonderful. I was like, what you doing, Chris? Last movie I seen you, it was like Money Talks. He had a fro. Now you got your hair slicked back. It's like, oh, you with the guy shot, Chris. You don't have no badge. You got on all leather and a huge gun. Yeah. You got a huge Desert Eagle. Oh, what's wrong with you? And he had like and his car was oh my God, was it like
it was a great car. I was trying to figure out what
really great car.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the oh God. I cut my phone off. It's the same car except for the convertible version, I believe, of Denzel's car in Training Day. Oh. It's like, because the thing is, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, everything about Chris Tucker in this movie had that, like, I mean, we know he was a good guy, but it's like, he could have been, if you'd have saw him, he could have been the dirty, bad cop, you know? Because, like, everything about him was like...
It's funny to think of him as this bizarro comedy version of Denzel.
I mean, think about the outfit. Denzel, when you see Denzel at first, Denzel kind of has, like, black
But
pants.
in that moment...
They're both L.A. cops.
He's, like, trying to play the part of a criminal in that moment, right?
But what I'm saying is, when I think about literally the wardrobe side by side, it's like... Because to me, that was him... in his streetwear, like not I'm in a suit going to work.
Trying to play
I thought
the
he was
part.
like
because
he is, but
he's
like,
talking to the guy trying to get the bomb.
Yeah, he is,
because he wears like a suit for the rest of the movie.
But I'm like, that's what I'm saying. It's just like that could have been Chris Tucker's like I'm out of work gear. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm about to go to the club with my leather on. You know, whereas like you look at Denzel and like Training Day, it was almost a mirror outfit, you know?
I'll piggyback off of that and just say that, like, you know I mentioned before that I thought he was a buffoon, but looking at my notes, I just have the question, is he an idiot? Like, is his character an idiot? This is my thesis question for throughout as we talk about the movie. And that moment is one of them. Why are they meeting outside of a diner? Why is he talking so loud?
I think it's less to do with idiocy and more to do with arrogance.
Yes, I think
his character is very arrogant. Yes. Well, when two cops come and he's like, I got it. Like, go back in the car. It's
okay,
like, what are you doing?
Cool. So then,
you know what you look like, man.
Okay, great.
Why would they believe you?
So then, in this same moment,
I told you to go back in the car.
In this same moment, he just shoots at the car with the C4.
Yeah,
he just shoots at it. What was he expecting? Did he expect the guy to get out of it alive? Like, fine.
You know, watching this movie, it brought up.
I'm going to stop this guy.
I started comparing Chris Tucker and Martin Lawrence in Blue Street.
Of course.
Because like, just so you know, we had Blue Street on the episode. It kind of started the podcast, and I despised it, like, afterwards. Because I kept saying Martin Lawrence dancing. Like, Martin Lawrence was dancing. I say, like, Martin Lawrence danced a jig. When I watched this movie, Chris Tucker dances numerous times, but for some reason, I was completely okay with it.
You were okay with it.
I was so okay with it. I remember copying those dances. Matter of fact, the question of, like, I said, like,
it just feels more real, dude.
It does.
Okay.
Even Martin, even in this movie, like, I agree with James, like, Chris Tucker may not have been the brains behind the operation, but I'm about to defend him. I'm like, he was smart enough. Like, you know,
but I do think he was the brains behind the operation because he knows where all. I mean, he sort of pieces it together. I don't think that Jackie Chan does any of that stuff, right?
Because it's like, how long do we stake out?
Right,
and they also work together in a way that's like that. Like, I mean, but that's part of why I'm like so confused by it because like he's so. there are then moments where he's like he sets up the whole ending, right? Like he prepares, he calls Johnson, he gets Johnson together,
True.
he randomly has that like suit that he can like put on at the end. It's like, and he talks his way in and out of things a lot. So it's just, I just have so many questions as to like how.
It's the air. I think it's the character flaw of the arrogance, and like he is like a little bit and the whole idea that he doesn't want a partner. Like he's like, I can do this by myself, and it's like, nah, dude, you need somebody to help you.
Totally.
So, which
I almost wonder if there's like some sort of connection between the fact that when they first meet, Jackie Chan doesn't say anything, and he just assumes that he can't speak English.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so you also assume as the viewer that Jackie Chan can't speak English because you haven't seen him speak English yet.
Right.
But then Chris Tucker has this sort of like arrogance about him that might make him seem dumb. You assume that he's an idiot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But he actually is the one who puts together the whole case. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's almost like a parallel between these two characters. Like, we're really going deep on Rush Hour.
We must.
I hate to say it, but you kind of want to, because like this is a movie where it has like two minority groups that at this point, I mean, to be honest, in movies weren't getting a lot of light. And it's like, how are they being represented? It's like Jackie Chan had, no offense, Jackie Chan is almost like what they put in this movie. They played up a lot of the things that he's good with. Like, I love that, like, when he does his fight scenes, it's always realistic. Like, when he punches somebody, his hand always hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But he still is, like, the Asian man who can barely speak English, who is really good at fighting. At the end of the day, Chris Tucker is the black dude who's fast-talking, who...
Right. They are both still
mouth.
playing the tropes, right? But let's talk about the history of Kung Fu, but also... So this is something that me and James were both noted, like, I guess separately, but like, and I know from personal experience, like, black people love Kung Fu movies.
They do.
And they have for a long time. So like the Kung Fu craze like started in like the 70s. And it became the most popular when Bruce Lee was doing movies. So Bruce Lee, Fist of the Dragon,
Into the Dragon.
Enter the Dragon. Fist of Fury. Sorry, I think.
Well, he also, Bruce Lee also
and
had,
Way of the Dragon. Go ahead.
He also like incorporated African Americans into those movies. Like,
yes.
He had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He had
Jim
Kelly. Like there was a team. There was a team, man. Like
we were reading. So there's this article that was online that was like talking about why African Americans like watched Kung Fu movies, or why it was so popular in the African American community. And like there were a couple different points I was making, but one of them being like it was the fact that Kung Fu movies were one of the only movies other than blaxploitation films where like a non-white person was the lead and was the hero, and they were, and also and in a lot of Bruce Lee films, he's like fighting against the imperialism of Japan, for instance, right? But it was still like fighting against imperialism, and like in the movies, like there's like one, I forgot which movie it was, but like there's one movie with Bruce Lee where he's going to enter a park, and a Japanese officer like stops him and like points to a sign, and the sign says "No dogs or Chinese." And he and so he sees the sign and he jumps up and like just kicks it in half, It's like, and so I feel like when black people saw that, they were like, yeah, because they're looking at the sign, they're like, hell yeah, like nobody's gonna tell us we're dogs, we're lesser, we're subhuman, you know what I mean? So like there was like immediate gravitation towards it, and there was something about the idea of like the revenge film, right? So you're fighting against someone and you can take them on all by yourself. And so they were saying like so many black people like went into like Kung Fu like schools, like did the training, did like different types of,
Oh, when I grew up, you definitely like, Mom, thank you. I definitely was studying like Kung Fu and karate growing up, because it was like, like you're saying, it was like, like,
my dad did. I know. My dad was like probably had a Bruce Lee poster. He like
you could defend yourself against injustice if you wanted to. Like Kung Fu movies, they were like, like Braylock, like I said, it's like they were defending like their home, like you just didn't want to be disrespected. Like you were defending yourself with your bare hands, which is like, like I don't need a gun.
I mean, there's a lot of power in it, right? Like to see it and to like see it enacted. And I remember when I remember seeing an interview that Chris Tucker did, like during the time that this movie came out, where he talked about how important he felt like this movie was and was going to be because of that reason, because it was like bridging that, like the premise of the movie was kind of like, oh, we're putting these two together, but for that purpose, you know. And I think that that's something that's really cool about this movie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I think like I don't want to say that what we've been doing is nitpicking, because these are legitimate criticisms.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you just think about this is 1998, there's not one real white male lead in this movie.
Yeah.
And it is there's the three good guys essentially are an Asian guy, a black guy, and a Hispanic woman.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's amazing.
There are not even
And the main bad guy is a white guy.
Yeah.
Jin Tao is white.
Yeah.
He's a white dude.
But it's
British white dude.
British white dude.
the most evil kind.
The most evil kind. The most
original
evil kind is the British.
Even Americans are like, yeah, screw the British.
Get him. It's so funny, but it's like what you're saying. It's a good point. It's like the three leads, which again I keep for some reason that just makes me think about the new Star Wars and everyone's like anger towards. It's like not
everyone. So small subset.
whatever people who keep shitting on it. Because it's like, you know, a black person, a woman, and it's like you know, it's like this happened in 1998.
Exactly. Know? 1998. Like we're talking about diversity today.
Yeah.
This would be a big deal today.
It would be huge.
Yeah. Like this, you know, like I mean, when you look at casting now, it just it's no surprise to me either that it did so well at the box office, because it's been proven that when you have more diverse casts, more people are going to see it. And I think part of it is the fact that people just want to see themselves represented on screen.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is internationally, like it does so well because you want to, you know, you want to be able to identify with the character. And the fact of the matter is, most of the world, you know, is not white.
Yeah,
It's so interesting. If you think about like, let's take the newest Transformers, for instance, even Avengers is like, because movies do so well overseas, is that some bigger, like say you take like Dubai or like Hong Kong, and they have like, if they have a famous actor or actress, they will get like a bit part in one of these big movies, and all of a sudden you're realizing like in Avengers, you're like, why are they talking to this doctor for so long? They're like, why? But this actress is someone huge where she's from. Or if you watch like, oh my god!
So that happened with Jackie
doctors?
Chan. So when Jackie Chan like tried to break in, he did his own. He did a film.
Rumble in the Bronx?
No, this is before. See, but
So
this is the
excited.
thing, right? This is the thing is
I
that
love that movie.
Jackie Chan was a superstar in Hong Kong since like 1980,
Right.
Oh,
and Rumble in the Bronx came out in 1996.
it came out in '96. Yo, that movie is so good.
There were movies before Rumble in the Bronx that I remember I watched because my dad was like very, very into kung fu, like and karate and like all that stuff. Like he, so like I remember watching like Operation Condor and like Super Cop, which I didn't find out until recently when we were doing this. I was doing research. Like those are actually like sequels to Hong Kong movies that were
really?
done.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah, like Super Cop is like the third of a movie in Hong Kong, which is called Police Story. It's like
he has
Police
another
Story
one that
3.
came out.
Right,
He has
yeah,
another
yeah.
one that came out.
And,
Police Story 7.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, but like, and then Operation Condor was actually this other movie called Armor God. And it was like supposedly like an Indiana Jones type esque movie. Like he plays an Indiana Jones type character. I was reading all this like recently. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But so when he first tried to break in, he did this movie and like it just wasn't a commercial success. And so they tried to put him in like they put him in this movie Cannonball, the Cannonball Run or something. That's like what's his name is the lead of it. Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds is the lead. But there's a bunch of actors in it. And he played like a Japanese racer, which is interesting too, because again, we just talked about the fact that the Chinese and Japanese history is not good at all.
No.
And he's playing, you know, essentially like that's like, yeah. I mean, I guess it happens in white America too, but whatever. It's just kind of funny. But yeah, he like did those like they try to like break him in, and then it wasn't really until Rumble in the Bronx where like most Americans, unless you were like a kung fu.
Wait,
like,
I got chills thinking about Rumble in the Bronx right now. Like, I mean, no, but seriously, that like Jackie Chan, I don't think anyone has existed like him since. Like not just like Asian or anything, or like it's like his stunts,
like
man.
the type of action hero, action star that he is. Like he created essentially like his own brand of like comedy fighting.
Exactly. I was about to say, I think it's not just his amazing stunts and his his martial arts ability. It's also like he's one of the best physical comedians. That's what I took away from this movie.
Best
where I was just like,
physical comedian.
It is. He is just so funny.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
I wrote that down. Like, I think it's amazing physical adeptness and the comedy combined with the martial arts. It's like so cool and fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like
in that pool scene.
the pool scene.
The pool scene is great.
No, I don't want any trouble.
Well, I think they made him. He did something that's so hard, where it's like you could say Chris Tucker maybe like they both should lead, but like Jackie Chan was the everyman. Like this guy from Hong Kong, you saw the world through his eyes in this movie. You felt bad for him when he messed up, saying "What's up, my nigga?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You felt bad when he would like try to get like
when they like they didn't get the girl and like the kidnapping ransom fee went up and he was like really sad about
Well, and thinking about that and him being an everyman, what's really cool about the two of them in this movie is that they are both fish out of water.
Yeah.
So like we get to see both of them interacting in environments that they just are not used to, you know, and so much of the humor comes out of that, you know, like I another one of my questions about is Carter an idiot, and it connects to Jackie Chan saying "What's up, my nigga" in the next scene, right? Is like when he first walks into the embassy, he's like ready. You know, he's like, all right, who's he been talking to? Who's he been dealing with? Like, I want to know. And it's like, this is the smartest you've appeared in the entire movie.
Right.
But he shouldn't be doing that, and we know that he shouldn't be doing that.
That
Funny.
plays to the point of later on, he does the same thing where like you're talking about fish out of water. It's like when Jackie Chan tries to go, because Jackie Chan is smart. He's like, hey, do you think if I just kidnapped, if I wanted a bunch of money, would I be held up in a place like this?
Yeah.
And he's like, Chris Tucker's like, he's like, I'm gonna come with you. And then Chris Tucker like hides.
And he hides,
because he knows like I'm not big enough to talk to these people. I'm on thin ice. And then Jackie Chan's like, where'd you go?
Well, another one of my, is he an idiot? It's like, why would he be like, yeah, let's go talk to him, and then not go?
And he goes, I was trying to tie my shoes, and then you went up
he did
there
that purposely. I'm interested to know, Andrew, like, because the fact of the matter is, like, even today, there really aren't many leading actors of like.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, there
times,
aren't many leading Asian actors, and like, especially if you take out, you know, the kung fu fighting genre.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Is there anybody?
Like, at least not in America.
Not in America. Like,
because like China has their own movies and they're doing very well. Their film industry is booming. But in America, like those kind of crossover stars or just Asian Americans.
Right.
There's what's his? Oh God, I keep forgetting his name.
Movie. I guarantee you all know it.
Well, you know that he was in Harold and Kumar, and he's been in Star Trek
Cal
movies.
Penn. Oh, Harold. John Cho.
John Cho.
Yeah.
And he was like the lead in like I think was it Manhattan Love Story or whatever the TV show.
That's right.
Recently,
Yeah.
That got canceled.
I think it was. Was it Manhattan?
Selfie.
It was Selfie.
Oh, Selfie. Sorry.
Which, by the way, I did watch.
I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
I
Pretty good
just don't
show.
think
hate what I saw.
I think also like the title just. Hurt.
Yeah, people hated the title.
I like John Cho. I really loved him in Star Trek. I thought he was super.
He was great.
I thought he was really great in that. And I was like,
great.
this dude, he's a dude that it's like, why isn't he a lead in movies?
Well, I mean, Harold and Kumar. There's another example of like, you know, how many of there? There are 3 now.
Yeah.
Three, yeah.
I think there's another example of like a surprise hit because people just want to see themselves represented. You know what I mean? Like people will turn out if you have minority actors on screen.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with race either. It's like them like as stoners.
They're stoners,
trying to get a White Castleberg.
But I do think though, if that movie would have been like 2 white dudes, they would have been bigger, or even 2 African Americans, they would have been bigger. Because that movie, because Harold and Kumar, that first one was such a hit. Mm-hmm. Like that movie tripled his money, and it's like I hate to say it, but if they if they didn't look, if one would have been like mixed. If one would have been like Asian and white, or like had some type of mix where you don't look as ethnic, I feel like sometimes the thing is like we were talking about Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and then we were talking about like Antonio Banderas and like a lot of the famous, I guess, Latin American actors aren't from Latin America, they're from like Spain, which is close.
They're
to
not
white.
Latin American.
They're Latin American. They're close to white. So I feel like if he would have been, if they would have looked more,
right.
That's really interesting to me because I even wonder how true that is because like there are a lot of random buddy movies like about white dudes that get stoned, and then like there aren't a million sequels of them. You know what I mean?
But how
Like,
many of them were hits though? Like Harold and Kumar. Harold and Kumar was so big. Oh my God! Here we go. Prime example. Harold and Kumar was so big that a secondary character got the career I think everyone else should have had. No one gave a shit about Neil Patrick Harris. Remember? Because like, the thing about the whole joke about that first movie was the fact that like, oh my God, is that Doogie Howser? Like, that was the whole joke.
True.
And then think about what happened to him after that. Got a hit TV show. Got movies. Like he was the dude who probably had what 10, 15 minutes. Like
yeah.
And it's like think about what happened to him, and think about not saying that like.
I mean,
Penn,
I still think John Cho is doing. I mean, if you're talking about movie wise, he's doing better than.
I think
Patrick
Cal
Harris.
Penn also took a break.
And
He's
Cal Penn
working with
purposely-
Obama.
Yeah, he
and
did.
He
He
did political
But
stuff.
I mean, right after that, they weren't like.
But it is true.
bunch,
Doesn't.
But I would say I think there's totally like I totally see where you're coming from. I do though wonder like I mean I'm trying to almost like compare like find some point of comparison with like Pineapple Express or something like or Harold and Kumar
Yeah.
whether or not there was that big of a difference. I think the main thing I took away from Harold and Kumar though is people don't just want to see minorities on screen. They also like it when minorities play against type because I think that they're so sick of seeing the same roles for minorities over and over again. Right. And so we had never really seen two Asian American stoners before that movie, especially headlining a movie. And it was like refreshing. I remember like, you know, I was in high school at the time or maybe middle school and, you know, I hadn't smoked weed yet or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I remember like really enjoying it because it wasn't just more of someone who was doing karate or was a doctor or you know all the roles that you always see all the time on every show,
right?
Or some computer guy, you know, like no, they were these two guys who wanted to smoke weed and get a burger. You know?
What's so funny about that too is like some of those stereotypes. They both are like one is a doctor who doesn't want to be a doctor, and one is an IT guy who doesn't. No, he's an accountant who doesn't want to be an accountant.
That's true.
Yeah, they still like play into him a little bit, but
No,
it's
but
like,
he, like,
it's that
it's
layered
against it.
stuff.
It's almost
right?
like it's almost a jumping off point
Yeah,
instead of
it
the
is.
ending point.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
or the main like
main
context of it. It's like it's just like it's like those extra layers that you know.
I actually think what's really exciting is you're talking about Asian Americans in film and TV. I think one of the most exciting things right now is in comedy. Like I feel like there are many more like Aziz Ansari's new show Master of None has been getting great reviews. I'm really excited to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. Mindy Kaling, you know, the Mindy Project. And I think like you're gonna like I love seeing like Fresh Off the Boat too.
Oh my God, I love
completely
Fresh Off the
agree.
Boat.
So
like that I think that's actually kind of like you don't see that many, you know, A-list. I mean, you don't see pretty much any A-list Asian American movie stars, but
anymore,
at the same time you do see, you know, like them popping up in TV, which is great.
So and I guess the question that we're like that's what we're doing on this podcast was we recognize TV is doing something right now that like it's also just producing better quality, I think, than Hollywood is as a whole. But like that being said, like movies are just more accessible to the community, international community, and people at large. Like there's something different about movies. You know what I mean? Like
it's grander,
and there's something that movies do that to really define like types. Like we're even saying like going against type, but it's like why is it necessarily that an Asian person has to be like a type? It's not really, it has nothing to do with their abilities. It's just like you're looking at them, and because of the movies that you've seen, and because of all the people like are the most famous Asian actors are karate, you know, like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Lucy Liu. Like
I don't understand what you're saying. Are you telling me right now? I'm confused. I feel like what you're saying is that like you can have an Asian person in the movie and not have them do like kung fu or something. Is that what you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So you're saying. So what you're saying is you can have Asian Americans just be regular humans in them. What the hell are you talking about?
That actually reminds me of like a really great joke in Star Trek when they're like, where he's like, "Oh, I heard you were like a great combat." He was like, "You're great at combat" to John Cho's character, and he's like, "Yeah." And then when like they go down, they find out it was just fencing. Like he was just great at fencing. And I was like, I thought that was hilarious because they're like, this dude is probably like great at like some martial arts, but he's great at fencing. That was so awesome.
A very like prescripted type of fighting.
And then they're like, oh, fencing. But then he gets down and then he's actually like a great swordsman. And he's like, oh wait, this is actually really cool.
Zulu.
But yeah, like so. I don't know when you were growing up, like I mean, this is the thing that we were talking about, like black people, black kids, like my dad, like I did, like I like looked up to Jackie Chan and like Jet Li, and like I was like, oh man, these are great.
I
But
love
like,
Jet Li, man.
but like because of the limited access that Asian Americans had for like leading roles, like is that something that we were like, were you looking at like kung fu films like, oh god, like is this it?
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, like what? I
as
just
a
wonder.
kid, I wasn't really thinking about
wasn't
it. 'Cause I
thinking
didn't
about it,
even
which is
think,
great.
And part of it was like I didn't think I was going to be doing like comedy. I didn't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I'd be, you know, in like casting sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do think that like I mean that's why Rush Hour was so groundbreaking, because on the one hand you do have Jackie Chan, who is doing a lot of martial arts and
Right.
is the karate guy, but he was also like a star, you know, and he was like obviously like first on the call sheet for this movie. He's has like, you know, a lot of lines, so you're kind of like, wow. I mean, like you know that Margaret Cho series, All American Girl?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like sort of, when it came out, it was panned for being, you know, sort of like racist, possibly, and, you know, offensive, and just sort of like oversimplified. My family watched every episode
Right.
of that show.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it was one of those things where I don't think we were thinking about it at all. I think we were just like happy to be there.
Yeah.
We were just like,
Yeah.
wow, this is the first Asian American family represented on TV. And
Yeah.
so was it, like looking back on it, I haven't watched any episodes since they aired, but
Yeah.
like, you know, was it offensive? I don't know. I just remember that we watched every episode because we wanted to support it, you know?
Exactly.
And I think, like, you know, fresh off the boat, I've heard similar criticism
I've
where
heard,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, is it making fun of her accent?
Yeah.
Is it making fun of? And actually, I think she gave a great response.
The lead actress played the mom.
on Fresh Off the Boat, who basically said like, look, I don't think that I should have to represent an entire race.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The reason
Why is
why
that?
you're
Yeah.
angry at this isn't just because of my portrayal. It's because my portrayal is one of the only portrayals.
portrayals.
Yeah.
That's really what the problem is.
Exactly.
It's not so much. If you had, you know, 20 different Asian American actresses on shows, and you saw the whole spectrum of what Asian American women can be, then it wouldn't be such a problem. But because we only have two or whatever,
Right.
then all of a sudden it becomes this big issue about, is she appropriately representing the whole race?
Exactly, because
I
you
think
read
that is-
so much into it.
That's part of the thing that is so hard about all of this stuff, right? Is that like is the second we see the media and whatnot, we want to like look at it, and then we want to immediately like scrutinize it and like make sure like, okay, are we all being appropriately represented in the way that we like want to be represented,
Yeah.
instead of being
The
able to
ideal.
just like, can I have fun and like and enjoy this? you know?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Mindy Kaling came under fire for, you know, not having, I forget whether it was like not having a diverse enough writing staff or not having a diverse enough cast. And I think she said something to the effect of like, yeah, but I'm doing like
But me.
like how it's still a big deal that I'm on TV and I have my own show, which is
Yeah.
true. You
Yeah.
know? How many other Asian American actresses can say that they are a lead on a sitcom? You know,
Right. Yeah.
So I do think that there's something to that, and like. You know, now thinking about, you know, what you were saying about how movies specifically are like a cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
It's so true, because like I think we actually were talking about this before the recording started, but
Yeah.
it's like we are going through this TV boom of everyone buying stuff and a ton of different networks trying to differentiate themselves.
Yep.
And so you'll get voices that you wouldn't get like, you know, 10 years ago, because they are specific
Right.
and they're niche and whatever. But movies aren't specific. Movies cost a shit ton of money,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
have to be all things to all people. And that's really where you start to see like cultural change. So
Yeah.
it would be really cool to see more Asian American actors in movies, you know?
I can't think of it like an Asian. I mean,
I talked to
it
my-
could be Asian American. It could be. I can't think of here in America thinking of like an Asian superstar.
Yeah, I gotta because like I gotta talk about my friend Annie Chang, who is of Chinese descent, and she's an incredible actress. Have to talk about her because she's doing amazing things, and she's gonna soon be. I'm allowed to say it. Yep, she's gonna be on Shades of Blue, which is J-Lo's new cop
awesome.
show.
I mean, yeah, that's a
like-
good show. I'm proud. I'm happy for her.
Why you got that
J-Lo,
Tony in your
because
voice?
J-Lo,
Jerah?
because don't worry, we're gonna come back to Shades of Blue
Why
on
you got
a later episode.
That's Tony in your voice though.
Okay.
All right. All right. But yeah, I talk to her about this all the time, and she was like, "What? Who? Like?" She was like, "You know, it's like, can you name 5? Like,
I can't name 2.
And outside of like who, like we just talked about, like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Lucy Liu, all
Right.
of who, by the way, really aren't doing movies anymore because they're getting older. Like Lucy Liu's on Elementary. I think that's
Yeah,
Which
Right,
is still on.
which is still on, which is great. But like, you know what I mean? It's like she only got to do like she got to do the Charlie's Angels movie. She got to do like Ballistic X vs. Sever. Like
People
but
hated
they were
that she
all-
was in Charlie's Angels, by the way.
and like again, but they were still like
were
fighting
hating.
movies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and even the other person, Ken Jeong, like,
Ken Jeong, yeah.
you know, he's still. But I mean, he was a doctor.
Right.
Obviously, got a breakout role in
Playing
the
a
Hangover.
very Asian,
but he was also a doctor in Knocked Up. He played.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
but
I
I
think
think that was
so.
his first.
his
role.
TV show now is.
But now
Dr.
he's a
Ken.
doctor. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Dr. Ken. So like, it's just so interesting, like how and again, it's like he's played great supporting roles, but he's not leading a movie. You know what I mean?
You know, one thing. I mean, I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really speak to it. But you know that movie Burnt that's out right now.
Oh, the cooking movie with Bradley Cooper.
Right, and
Bradley Cooper.
one of my friends saw it and did not like it, and so I probably won't end up seeing it just based off my friend's recommendation. But the first thing I asked him was there a major Asian character in that movie? Because I don't think you can make a movie today about cooking today without a major Asian American
yeah, very
character.
true,
Right.
very
You-
true.
Like the most exciting chefs right now in this country are Asian American. It's like sort of like I'm excited to see that role because like
Yeah.
you know we already know about the doctors, we know about the the computer programmers, we know about all those we know there are a lot of Asian people in tech. We get that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen like chefs yet, really fictionalized chefs.
Yeah.
And there's some of it's like a really like cool industry, and it's a lot of people are talking about it. And you have people like David Chang who are totally changing the game, who have been changing the game for a while. And like, and he was like, no, there isn't. I was like, that's crazy. to
You
me.
do realize
Like, you
That's
can't-
so
like, if you
crazy.
look at
And
any
not
kitchen,
real.
there are so many Asians. in
So-
every- like
oh, yeah.
if you look at like Chef's Table on Netflix or whatever, and you look
I've
at like
worked
Dan
in
Barber,
kitchens. I know.
it's like there's so many Asian Americans on the come up in
Yeah.
like in kitchens. So
Yeah.
like, how could you possibly portray like a
I think you
Michelin
gotta
star
make a TV show.
restaurant? Without that sort of character.
Yeah.
It's insane. And what was the other quick point that I was just gonna make? The crap.
Andrew,
Oh,
you gotta make a
Aloha.
show about
The
that. Oh,
fact
Aloha.
that
Oh,
Aloha, they're still Hollywood
Still
is
doing it.
still whitewashing, which is insane.
Aloha. They had what is her name?
Rooney Mara in the Pan.
Oh, Rooney Mara and Pan
Yeah,
playing
with-
like Native American.
Playing Tiger Lily.
It's like man, it hasn't stopped yet. If you had like an Asian actor who again was fair skinned enough that they became exotic, if you will, whereas like you could tell they maybe mixing
Keanu
something.
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
It actually.
Keanu Reeves.
I bet there's
Yes,
some
James.
listeners.
Yes,
There
James.
has to be like at
Yes.
least like 200 people right now who are just like, how were you not talking
Yes.
about Keanu Reeves
Yes.
this entire time?
Keanu Reeves is a prime example.
And isn't
Keanu Reeves is mixed. He's half Japanese, I believe.
Keanu Reeves was in the Stoner movie and became a star after it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Keanu
Like,
Reeves is mixed.
You have to be,
He is the
Keanu
most
Reeves is-
famous Asian actor.
Yes, Keanu Reeves.
what about the guy who played Zach Morris? Isn't he half Asian or something?
Paul Gosselaar?
My thing about, look, man, I need to see
really?
a birth
He is?
certificate. I need to see
That
both
dude
of his
is
parents.
Why?
Plus his grandparents. Keanu, the thing about this so interesting is
Keanu.
like Keanu has that look of like, oh yeah, when you say, oh, he's half, like, oh, I can see that. But also if no one told you that, you're like, oh, it's just another white guy.
Right,
and I
right.
feel like that helped lead to his
100%.
success. Because it's like now he's not
100%, right?
But the problem is, like we were saying, is like we can import like Antonio Banderas and everyone else. Like you can't import a Jackie Chan, even though Jackie Chan may be able to act 10 times.
I mean, they
better
did
than
import
Keanu.
him, but it took like over a
It
decade.
took forever.
Right,
but also,
right.
but it's like, but also think about it. Jackie Chan, for instance,
And he was like number one.
number one, but he will never get the same. I'm gonna be real. He will never get the same chances to fail as a Keanu Reeves. Like Keanu Reeves is still celebrated, if you will. Whereas
Yeah.
Jackie Chan had movies that were a hit, but he started doing a bunch of buddy comedies, and like now,
Well, because he had to do less. I mean, again, he got older and older. He was doing his own stunts. By the time that America recognized him, he was already in his late 30s.
Yeah. I mean, my
it was
thing
like he
is-
couldn't
yeah.
do the things that he was
Right.
doing at his prime.
like that SNL sketch said. Where's Jackie Chan at? Where's Jackie Chan at? I'm
He's
serious.
great. I mean,
That's like,
Chan's
Jackie
great, but
Chan
he's in
is
his 60s.
awesome.
He's not going to be doing.
But where is he at? That's a good question.
He's rolling in money, is what he's
I
yeah.
hope so, man. Him, Jet Li. Oh, those guys are great. Oh,
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
So,
Can I really want to bring up the swirl in this show.
all right, we're going to do this one.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
What's going on?
So, just so you know,
Honestly, I don't know.
we kind of hit on a point. For instance, like when it comes to like, let's say everyone in general, like minority men in general. When it comes to these movies, it's like especially action movies. Like, for instance, black people often are like they want like black men want sex, they want whatever, but they're never the sex symbol. Like the black dude. For instance, if this would have been Sylvester Stallone and like I don't know Bruce Willis, sure enough, one or both of them would have had a female love interest. In this movie, clearly you can see that what's the actress's name? Sorry, she plays
Talking about Johnson?
yes, but you know
I don't have
Elizabeth
her name.
Pena.
Yeah, Elizabeth Pena.
yeah, for instance, you can tell like that again. If this movie, if that would have been Sylvester Stallone as Chris Tucker in his role, there would have been you would have known that was his love interest in this movie. They would have
Right.
kissed, they would have hugged. Clearly, Chris Tucker hits on her the whole time. You know, like she disses him, whatever, but they don't do it. Okay, so the point of the swirl is that in these movies with these leading black men, okay, they never get to have sex or love with the beautiful white woman in the movie. Okay. They set this movie up just like they do in Beverly Hills Cop. She's there the whole time. And if this would have been someone else, sure enough, there would have been a scene where she had to save him. He would have had to save her. It would have ended. They would have embraced and they kissed. Did it happen in Rush Hour? No. No, it didn't. He even had to make up lies about how they hooked up. Because he's getting that lack of love. Okay? He said, I'm sorry, I told everybody that you hooked up after the Hollywood. You know what could have happened? Though? Let me tell you, when they could have had a beautiful love scene.
All right.
Okay?
Goodness.
They could have been a beautiful... No, because it makes me mad. All
right, yeah,
Chris
clearly.
Tucker in this movie had cool hair. He had cool suits.
He was looking good.
He looked good in this movie, man.
looked good.
Shit, if Chris Tucker can't get some ass, who can, y'all? Who can? He was at his peak of coolness. He was dancing. Nick turning me down because I guess I'm getting too loud. I'm sorry. But look, okay, hear me out. This what could have happened. All right, so of course this movie directed by a man. There's a scene with Lieutenant Johnson dancing in an underwear and a shirt. You don't see a lot of her body, but you clearly know she's dancing in underwear. All right, so when this happens, all right, Honda's about to like get on the plane because they sent them away. They messed up. Chris Tucker's got to like make it right. He's dissed her the whole movie. That was supposed to be his partner. He didn't want a partner, so like boom. What he should do is he should knocked on the door. He should have went to her house and apologized. He should have apologized in person. Okay, when you apologize in person, it's like listen. And of course, this movie set it up already. I'm not making it up. Movie set it up already. She's cooking breakfast, you know, in underwear dancing. He loves to dance. He loves music. And who doesn't love breakfast? He had a stressful night.
What was the song that was playing, by the way? It was like a fun song.
It was a fun, funky song. I don't remember what it was, but she was having a good time. I was having a good time. We all were. I think she was making eggs. Who don't like eggs? She could open the door. Chris Tucker's there, and it's like, hey, I just wanted to apologize. And they would have had this intimate conversation at the doorway, y'all, at the doorway, because he legitimately wants to apologize.
Yeah.
And of course, like how these movies always play out, it's like, I forgive you. You cooking breakfast? Yeah. And then like, you want some eggs? He'd have went in and got some eggs, right? And as he's getting eggs,
how they always go.
He'd have got eggs. They would have been talking. You know, he would have realized what he's like, the person he's neglected the whole time, how much of an asshole. She'd have been like, you know what? I understand why he did it. He probably would have brought up his dad. He would have got the pity vote because women are more kind than us, and usually they have more heart. She'd be like, oh my God, you know what? I understand why you're being such a jerk. I forgive you. And the next thing you know, that radio station she had it on would have switched to a new song.
Oh my God.
It would have switched to like, I don't know, maybe a little R. Kelly, maybe a little Marvin Gaye. Next thing you know, he would have had to call home like, don't worry, I'm gonna come get you. And it's like, wonderful love scene. Wow. Bing, bang, boom. It could have happened. It could have been tasteful. It could have been tasteful. And it could have been not a big deal.
All right.
You know.
What about Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan. This is my thing that bothered me too, though, is that, man, look, I'm not Asian, but I always feel like Asian men have
know
it.
that.
No, I'm just saying, but like I feel like Asian men have it the roughest because, for instance, let's take real life.
Oh, let's take real life. Can we give a quick shout out? Can we give a quick? Yeah, I don't like where this is going.
I got you.
I don't like where this is going. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend because the main love interest
is an Asian man.
She's obsessed with this Asian guy.
She's an obsessed. So go ahead.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, for instance, like if you take this is a fact. It's not crazy, but like on these dating sites, darker skinned African American men and Asian men do the least well on these sites. Like they don't people don't get swipes or whatever because I don't know. Like for instance,
and black women as well.
Yeah, black women definitely don't. I remember being in Spain and me and my friend Nate.
Yeah, darker skin.
By the way,
darker
this
skin.
is based on a study.
No, this is like a fact. You can Google it.
Yeah.
Like I remember being in Spain and legit being Barcelona, and it was me and my friend Nate.
Attraction is. You know what I mean? Like
It's totally cultural.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, like, I actually think, like, not to bring it back to a now defunct sitcom, but like that was why Selfie was a big deal. Was because
Yes.
not only was he the first, I think, Asian American male lead in a very long time, but he was a romantic lead.
Yes,
There
he was
a
a
love
romantic
story
lead.
between him and a white woman, and so that was a huge deal because when's the last time we've seen that? So I do think it's one of those things where you really don't,
He was
apart
well
from
dressed, smart.
the Rush Hour fan fiction. I mean,
listen. I mean, and the thing is,
continue
even like
with
you
your-
brought it up, it's like it's so hard to even do a swirl because like they don't even make it like Jackie Chan's a sexual being in this movie at all. It's like
because
Right.
he's like I'm only here for the girl. I'm only here to
but the
save
thing
the
is, like, they
little
don't
girl.
even make it like. I mean,
They don't
I
even
don't
make
know.
it.
They don't even
like,
make it
he
like
doesn't-
he's
They
a-
don't even make it hard for him to just be there for the girl.
Like the
they don't,
one-
They don't present a possible.
Well,
love interest
the
for it.
only ever time that he deals with sexuality in any way is when he stops Elizabeth Pena's character and like
by
puts his
holding
hand
her.
out.
It's like,
and he realizes that his hand are on her breast, and he's like, oh, sorry, and you're like.
Yeah.
What are you doing? She's wearing. First of all, she's wearing a huge padded thing.
Yeah.
You're not grabbing her breast. You
Right.
just stopped her, and he's
Right.
like, "Oh!" He's like, "No, whoa."
I do think that he does a lot of apologizing.
He does. He does.
But he does that in his
That's-
films all the
that's kind of
time.
his
But
thing,
like,
yeah.
it would have been funny. Like, I feel like that with that moment, he would have just been like, he might as well just turn to the camera and be like, "No, don't worry, don't."
I know, not
don't worry.
touching.
I'm
But it's
not
like,
going to have
but it's
sex
so
with the
weird
white woman.
because like Andrew, you brought it up. Like he doesn't get a love interest until the third movie.
I think. I
No,
forget.
it is her.
true?
I-
Yeah.
Does he have a
I know
love
the
interest
actress-
in Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights?
Oh,
Maybe Shanghai Nights.
I forgot all
do you know?
about
Do you know who?
Shanghai
You know who's in Shanghai Nights? You know who's in Shanghai Nights?
Owen Wilson.
And do you know who the lead, the princess he's trying to save?
No.
Lucy Liu.
Oh, that's right. It is Lucy
It's
Liu.
him and Lucy Liu.
Yeah, because
And
Lucy Liu is the.
Yeah, it's him and
Lucy
Lucy
has
Liu.
had a long and storied career.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
she's been doing
'Cause
well.
Name two other.
I
Asian-
can't name.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. It's like
That's insane, by the way.
Yeah.
Do we understand?
Yeah, it's
Can we
totally
just continue
nuts.
to hammer that home about how crazy that is?
tweet us if you know more. Because
I mean, I know
feel
people
like I
know more, but, like-
no, but I'm talking about
Right.
someone like a marquee name. Like who is the? I mean, black people. We got Will Smith. Who's the Asian
Like
Will Smith?
Joy
for,
Luck
like-
Club. Did you guys read Joy Luck Club when you were in high school? It's
I
like
did not read
No.
it.
It's
but
a really great
I
book.
remember the movie.
But honestly, if they made that movie, they made that movie. But I don't like if they remade that movie now. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't know who you would make.
Yeah,
who you would
who
put in that
you would
film.
cast, yeah.
Who would you cast? It would be people that we don't really know right now.
They did. They did two movies that are famous. They did. The Last Airbender cast a bunch of white people.
Oh my God,
And then
that's
they did.
right.
And then they did Dragon Ball Z, which they cast a bunch of white people. And it's like you literally are take. They just like what do you?
I
Like,
forgot about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, you won't.
Oh
you
my
won't
God!
do
They
it.
cast a white dude as Goku.
Goku. And they kept his name as Goku.
What?
They kept his name as Goku, man.
Oh my God!
Was
and
that-
Last Airbender. I can't believe it.
It's like it's a thing that just won't.
I
That
didn't
is
see either of
insane.
those movies. Were they like American made movies?
They were.
Dragon Ball Z is originally
They were.
Japanese,
Yeah,
right?
they were
Yes.
American versions.
They're
of the
both
movie.
American-made movies.
But how do you have
But
it?
yeah, those are both Japanese anime cartoons.
The thing is, like, I want to give Jackie Chan a swirl, but I feel like Jackie Chan deserves better. I feel like I feel like I haven't thought about a way to. I feel like man.
Was Jennifer Love Hewitt his love interest in the tuxedo?
no, not at all.
Oh
Not
no!
at all, right?
Oh no!
No.
Man.
They had points
Poor-
where like
poor Jackie
Yo,
Chan.
they had points where like she was in the. And they, of course, they made her look uberly sexy. They didn't
definitely-
even have him look like man.
Yeah, and he definitely had love interest in some of his Hong Kong films. I bet.
Yeah, man, but come on, man. I can
All
make
right.
a movie with a bunch of black people and get a love interest. Why can't he get one with the studio? Why can't Jackie Chan, get, I don't know.
I think we answered the question of where Jackie Chan at, which is he's
went-
in a negotiating room right now trying to get himself a female lover.
He's got to, man.
That's really
Shoot.
James.
I don't have anything.
I hate you so much.
I don't have anything.
He doesn't.
I don't have anything.
That's true.
There's nothing new. No,
nothing to talk about.
No other. Nothing. You're.
You haven't worked out a new bit yet?
Nope.
All right.
Well, there's no. I mean, we're in a weird place right now because.
He formerly used to do a bit about Hancock, but we reviewed Hancock, so now
We
have to
reviewed Hancock, and so
So now you're gonna take a break.
I'm cool.
Braylock, it's your turn.
All right, so it's time for the cause, guys. So this is what we're doing. We're going to rate the movie, but we don't rate it on a like a traditional scale. We rate it based on how this movie helps the cause. The cause being more people of color in leading roles.
Studio picture has to be a studio
major studio pictures.
Right.
So we usually either give it a black fist,
means it's for the cause,
a white palm,
so,
or nothing.
no cause.
All right.
Got to narrate what he says. Is that
Sure.
All right. So on the count of 3, we're all going to throw up
I'm gonna close
our
my
votes.
eyes. I
You're
don't
going to
trust
close
James.
your eyes.
I don't trust James. I'm gonna let y'all know.
So this is like our
even-
rating for the
what?
movie, right?
Yeah.
A rating for the movie of how we feel like it helped the cause of leading people of color in Hollywood. Let's do it.
You count it down.
Think about it. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Damn.
We got
All fists.
all fists.
All fists.
All fists.
You know what is almost like I almost didn't give it a full fist because I was thinking, man, like this was in 1998. You would have thought you'd see more of this by now, but it's not the movie's fault. You know what I mean? Like I still want to give props to the movie. So.
Yeah. Totally. I agree. Like, also the movies did Rush Hour 2 and Rush Hour 3, and I will give this movie credit for Jackie Chan's like major success.
Yeah, he had a bunch of spin-offs.
Because
too,
he
kind of
had
things.
and then he did he did the Shanghai Noon wouldn't have happened if Rush Hour didn't happen, right? And that had another sequel, and then he did like the Medallion, the Tuxedo,
Around the
Forbidden
World
Kingdom,
in
Around the
80
World in 80
Days.
Days, whatever. So he had a bunch of others after, and really, really, really made him a household name. And then also Chris Tucker took his money and just went home.
Yeah, he's like, man, I'm good.
Didn't come back until just recently with Silver Linings Playbook, and it cemented Chris Tucker, I think, as a movie star.
Who I can't emphasize enough is so funny in this movie.
So
It's
funny.
unreal how funny both of these guys
Honestly,
are.
I don't care. I think he's so much better than Martin Lawrence in
I do
Freaking
too.
Blue Streak.
The movie played to both of their strengths very well.
Yes.
I think very well.
And I'm not somebody who when I'm watching the movie alone in my apartment, I'm not somebody who laughs out loud. Usually when I'm doing that. But when he gets kicked in the face and he goes, "Which one of y'all?"
Oh my goodness!
I was just like, that is just, you
Which one
can't
of y'all
not
kicked me?
laugh at that. It's just so good.
Even at the end when he's like Jackie's about to die, you're like, all right, man, you wait up there. I'm gonna go get somebody. I'm come back. I'll be back. I'm messing with you. I'm
Putting
gonna
money
play.
into his shirt.
Yeah, he's literally taking money the whole time. It's so good. Even when he gets FBI.
Even the one-liner when he's just like, yo, wipe that blood off your face. You dead. The one-liner doesn't make any sense. He clearly improvised it, but the way he says it is just so funny. Also, that dude is really good. We didn't talk about him, but Ken Leung.
That guy was great.
And he's Miles in Lost, which I love. I love that actor.
Really good. Yeah,
he's great in this.
He's creepy as hell.
So creepy.
Yeah, that's so
like that scene with him and Chris Tucker on the phone, where he's just like, "What do you think you got?" Where he's like, "I want five, whatever 10s," and he's like, "You want any 5s with that?" What is your name? And he's like, "What do you mean? What are we talking about? What is your name? What's your name?" You asked me for the money, and he's like,
So good.
"I want to tell your associates who is responsible for this young girl's death." He's like, all right, chill.
And he's like, "What do you think you got? Chelsea Clinton?" Everything about that movie.
Have you watched the bloopers?
Yeah, and he couldn't get Chelsea Clinton. What's his name? You got Chelsea Carter.
He didn't know.
The best one was when he said Chelsea Grammer.
Yeah.
He's like,
What's her
thinking
name?
about
It's like,
Frasier.
do you not know Chelsea Clinton?
And then he finally got it, but then still stumbled at the end. What? Did I get it? I got it. And then the dude in the background is just laughing,
Don't you ever touch a black man's radio.
boy! The whole movie, the movie, he's quotable in this movie, man.
Do you understand the words that are coming out?
I think I give this movie such a pass on so much stuff because it hits this nostalgic bone in my body where I'm just like, I remember how good a watch it was the first time, and then it's a great rewatch.
Yeah.
It's fantastic the second time too.
Because it almost felt like, even though Chris Tucker was saying questionable things, it also was he wasn't better than Jackie Chan. So it wasn't him making fun of it. It was one scene where at the end when the bomb explodes in the building and they're running. He's like, "Why'd you tell me to stop?" And he's like, I said stop. He said, "I don't understand you." And he's really I don't understand what you be saying. I said stop. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, what did you just say?
Oh wait. So I'll just real quick just say the reason that I give those stuff a pass is because the way that the film executes it, it's almost like what is that fusion between Black and Asian cultures, like even in like Chinese restaurants in the hood, serve chicken. Like they even make a reference to it in this movie. Like he's like, you got some chicken wing, like some barbecue, some fries. He's like, no soul food here. Like, but it was like, but that is usually there is soul food at Chinese restaurants because like that. It's like both cultures are like, well, we are both oppressed, and it's easy for us to take like how like white culture at large oppresses us and like use like those derogatory terms, whatever, and use it to fight each other. But they come together and are like, wait a minute, like, why are we fighting each other? Tom Wilkinson's the bad guy. Let's go after that dude. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think it's like kind of a strange thing to think about it historically. You know what I mean? Like they reference the LAPD, obviously this is 1998, and then also like they even reference some of the sort of politics of like China and Hong Kong and Britain, which is like
exactly.
And you don't think of it as that heady of a movie. It's not that heady of a movie, but they at least still place it historically,
at least
which
they
is kind of
place
interesting.
James?
Yeah, definitely give it a fist for everything we said. You know, like it definitely loved it as a kid, and still holds that nostalgia that we were talking about part of me. And what you were saying earlier about how it's like probably more diverse than any movie. That totally.
Sure.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, Andrew, do you have anything you want to plug? You want to tell the people before?
No, not really. I would say watch Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Keep him employed, y'all. Keep him employed.
And yeah, that's about it. I don't really have. We have a monthly show at UCB too, so come out and see that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me. This was a ton of fun, and it gave me an excuse to rewatch Rush Hour.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I rewatched. I was like, damn, this movie is so good.
Hey, James, I'm trying to think of a song I want to end on. Should I end on war?
I mean, I feel like you should end on war.
Or like Drew Hill. I'm trying to think like...
No, I kind of think that you have to end on war.
War. Good guy, yo. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Play this out, Nick.
What is it good for? Absolutely not.
Yo, James the Third in the studio with a couple of plugs. Be sure to follow us online at Black Men Podcast. That is at Black Men Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's keep the conversation going. And also you can follow John Braylock at John Braylock, and it's johnbraylock.com for him. I'm at James Third Comedy or jamesthirdcomedy.com. Third is 3RD. Jerah Milligan insisted that I tell you all to go and hug somebody. Just, send some love to somebody random. I don't know why I said that. You can follow him at Hollywood Reject on Twitter. And for Hollywood, the zero is the first O in Hollywood. The zero, he gets on me for third all the time. That I feel like that is very difficult to say. All right, next week we're doing. You guys, we have a special guest. You may not know who they are. Jake and Amir's a couple of dudes. I don't know. They have some podcast called If I Were You.
Wait. Listen, everybody. We are not about to do Jake and Amir's episode next week. Creed came out. Creed was directed by a black man, starring a black man, and written by a black man. So you know what? I'm calling the audible. So next week coming up, we're reviewing Creed, starring Michael B. Jordan. Young black man, we try to make it to the top, baby.
That was a HeadGum podcast.